All right, welcome back right here. I want to get that Final Four straight. South Carolina versus Gonzaga, Oregon versus North Carolina as well. Greg Bicouvaris, glad you're with us for Sports Scene every Wednesday, 12 to 1. For more, go to gjbtv.com, hit the YouTube link. And, of course, Buffalo Wild Wings and Newport News. Want to welcome our great people over there as well at 12150 Jefferson Avenue, Paul Odette and the friendly staff. Excellent lunch and dinner 7 days a week. 249-3999 is the phone number. Wall-to-wall TVs, wings, beer, sports. Go by and see Paul and the great staff. Lunch and dinner, of course, burgers, wings, all the great appetizers right there. And Community Day is going on April 19th. Where you can bring your friends and family and teammates to Buffalo Wild Wings and Newport News, and 10% of the sales, a very good cause, will be donated locally to the Crossroads Village Boys and Girls Club. So Buffalo Wild Wings and Paul Odette giving back to the community every day. Go by and see him right there in Newport News and get a great lunch and dinner. Paul Fuqua, who I've known for several years, going back to his days working in heating and air conditioning. He's been a part of the basketball scene in Washington, D.C. He's very well connected with Georgetown University, and of course his son plays baseball for VMI. He also did a show when I worked for Red Zebra at The Game. Paul, welcome.
Thank you. It's always a pleasure.
Tell us about your basketball background in the D.C. area.
I was a basketball junkie. Tried to play high school ball, but wasn't good enough my senior year, but joined the wars at the Jelliff Boys Club, coached CYO, ended up coaching in the WCAC, what is now the WCAC, started at Gonzaga, and then I went to American University, and then I got the head coach at Mackin, which is now defunct. Last time I was the last coach there, as a matter of fact. And coached at UDC under a legend, George Leftwich, and then was the head coach at Harker Prep. Then I left D.C., moved to this area, and have done grade school and just did rec league. You know, I love to coach basketball.
I worked with Ronnie Thompson a few times when at Wade and Mary, and of course Ronnie Thompson is the youngest son of Big John Thompson, of course, and you were also very influential in getting him on this airwaves as well for my show on Sports Scenes. I want to thank you for that as well, as you well know. But let's talk about that. Who would have thought, you and I were talking 2 weeks ago in your real estate office in Chesapeake, that Georgetown would make a move. Of course, like anybody else, when you don't win, when you don't succeed, people's patience is yesterday. And, of course, John Thompson's son did make the postseason several times. He had losing records the last 2 years, and I guess the alumni started hearing echoes in the in not only the Verizon Center but McDonough and the entire campus.
John Thompson III is I consider him a friend. I coached him in grade school. I coached him in high school, as I did his younger brother Ronnie. I worked closely with his dad when he established the Kenner League. I was on the board there. So I've been fortunate to know the Thompsons for many, many years. John and I have grown old together, Big John. And it's unfortunate that the university had to take the action it took, but I think that it did for good reason in terms of winning and losing. And at the same time, I think that John Thompson III was an object for derision because of his dad, not in spite of his dad. And that, to me, is what is most distressing about the situation. And over the past 2 years, when some of the university's tenets have resulted in a talent level that isn't consistent with what the alumni would like to see, they were able to be much more expressive in their dislike for John Thompson III and the results that he was achieving on the floor.
Talking to Paul Fuqua, Greg Bicouvaris, glad you're with us live on Sports Scene at 12:14, talking about the whole Georgetown dynamic. They played for years at McDonough Arena. They played at the old Capitol Center, the Verizon Center. And it's different, as you well know, that D.C. is such a polarizing area. Lefty Drizel, who now lives in this area, was there from 1969 to 1986, right during the heyday when John Thompson, of course, was there from the early 70s to the late 90s when he resigned in the middle of the season as well. But John Thompson, Big John, was a polarizing figure on the streets of D.C. He grew up there in the high school scene. He knew the players. He had Alonzo Mourning from this area as well. And to replace that name, who's still, there's a building named after him. He's still at every home game. He's at a lot of practices. Whoever that person is going to be, Paul Fuqua, he's going to have to say and acknowledge Big John. My question is, will Big John take this personally, or is he smart enough now, he's seen it and done that, to move on and just accept it?
I can't speak. I'm going to surmise. I hold the man in high regard. He knows basketball, especially college basketball, as a business. He knows that results count. He knows that the university has placed somewhat different restrictions than were placed on him. He knows that you have to win to stay in the job as a coach of a major college program. And I think that it's the result of what transpired. And my knowledge of John is he understands it's a business. And it's a shame that his son is the person who was relieved of his job. But at the same time, John Thompson Jr. knows it's a business.
Talking to Paul Fuqua, Greg Bicouvaris, glad you're with us. And, of course, it's hard to beat what John Thompson did. Of course, the dad, of course, went to 3 Final Fours, won the championship in 84, of course, lost that big game against North Carolina in 82 and Villanova in 85. But his son did have success, like we talked about before we got on the air. He made several postseasons. He did make 1 Final Four.
Oh, sorry.
He did make 1 Final Four. He did make the NIT. He's been there, but the patience level today of fans is just not there.
Yes, and for a variety of reasons, part of which, in my mind, can be directly attributed to the NBA's influence on the NCAA. The one and done is the most distressing development in college basketball since I first started following it in the early 60s. Now you don't have kids staying in school for 4 years. Now you have them coming in under a sham educational system of one and done. And if you look at the Final Four this year, you'll see a large number of young men who are playing under a prostituted system. If you go back to the 80s or the early 90s and when college basketball and Big East and the ACC were penultimate forms of entertainment and rabid fan followings, there was a continuity. You had kids for 3 years or 4 years. You had the Chris Mullins and Patrick Ewing and how many others that were Syracuse and Georgetown and Seton Hall and Villanova and at other Duke is an example. Christian Laettner. Mm-hmm. I mean, he was hated as a sophomore, and he was hated even more as a senior. They're now doing 30-30 on Christian Laettner. Had he been a one and done, would that ever occur? No.
Right. And, Patrick Ewing stayed for 4 years, and Chris Mullin did, like we talked about too. But it's just amazing how it's all changed, where you and I were talking about not many people can name one player from South Carolina. I mean, but they know who John Wall is for the Wizards. And that's my thing about the NBA today compared to, let's say, it's gotten more popular. In my opinion, I'm an NBA person. I like college basketball. I grew up loving Maryland. I went to George Mason, but the NBA players like the Wizards, people know who Beal and Wall are. They know who LeBron James is. They know who Kyrie Irving is. He played for a minute at Duke, barely a minute at Duke, and they don't know everybody in the NBA, but they know who DeMarcus Cousins is. They know who Randall is. I mean, the college basketball, they started in November. They're competing against the NFL and college football till February, and really they only get relevant in March Madness.
My response, and I'm not here to defend the NCAA basketball and versus NBA, but there are several things that I find distressing. This is personal opinion. First, in the NBA, they name all the teams. There was a time when the teams meant something. When, for instance, back in the 60s and 50s, teams drafted based on the geography in which their prospective draftees went to school, and they were involved in the recruitment of players to the right areas. Boston recruited kids to schools in its geographic drafting area. That's no longer. Right? So you've lost that. And as a consequence of this zeroing in and marketing of the star rather than the team, we now have teams moving readily, NFL, NBA, but we're talking NBA, and you have the compilation of power teams. Look at the Warriors and Kevin Durant. Look at what happened in Miami with LeBron, and then LeBron takes his talent and goes home to Cleveland. I think he's the finest basketball player that's ever lived. He certainly had significant impact. Let's see if he has longevity of Michael Jordan. But he's the star, and regardless of the team. And I'm hearkening back to 40 years ago,
right?
And I'm sorry to do so, but there was an element of team identification rather than star.
Right, absolutely. And people knew who Michael Jordan was, but he was a better NBA player than college basketball player. But there wasn't as much competition. There was no internet. The phones, the computers, the way people can consume content. We were just talking about radio, that you can hear this on AM radio, on TuneIn Radio, as you well know. Then it can be archived on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube. That didn't happen 20 or 30 years ago. You can watch any ESPN TV broadcast on Watch ESPN. Fox, who I do a lot of work for during the NFL season in college basketball, they have apps you can watch games on your phone or computer, and people under 40 are not buying newspapers. So being in the newspaper was a big deal. Mm-hmm. Now being on Facebook is a big deal. But here's my problem with college sports is the AAU. They have corrupted college basketball, and parents like LeVar Ball at UCLA, who goes around saying he can beat Michael Jordan, he is not going to help his son with endorsements because people are going to stay away from that Ball family at UCLA.
Who's the kid that schooled the boy, the son, in the last weekend?
It was Kentucky that schooled him.
Yeah. 39 points to 10. Let's face it.
Where's the entitlement coming from for these kids, Paul? Patrick Ewing didn't have that entitlement.
It starts when they're 13 years old. Yeah, I see it. I coached rec league this summer or this winter, and it was fun, except that I had kids who hadn't played basketball before but still felt entitled. And I think in part it's the participatory trophies. You try out for a team, and the rules are that each kid has to play 2 quarters, mm-hmm. regardless of talent level. It's participation. And the difficulty is that a kid with talent and athleticism and skill sets is immediately able to be set apart from the regular venues. So he moves on to AAUs where he's guaranteed. There's a remarkable thing on baseball. Joe Madden doesn't like it in part because you're guaranteed a spot. You're guaranteed to play. Same thing with AAU basketball. You don't go into a team expecting to ride the bench and learn. Mm-hmm. I mean, I built AAU programs at Mackin. Mm-hmm. And shared the let's see, what year was 1987 AAU 1700 national championships, mm-hmm. where we had 80 teams. and they came in, they flew in, and they had hotels, and this was in the 80s, late 80s. That's when it started. But all this, the impact of all of the societal changes is significant, specifically the internet. Anybody and everybody can be a judge of other people. Anybody and everybody can be involved in many, many aspects of society, and especially athletics, baseball, basketball, whatever. You're able to zero in, and you're able to see the pros and cons of any program. And I think that the astute people are those who are able to separate the wheat from the chaff.
All right, folks, it's lunchtime. Soprano Italian Restaurant welcomes you to their establishment. Enjoy unforgettable appetizers, subs, pizza, Italian dinners, and ask about their pizza special. Go by and see Moody and the friendly staff for lunch and dinner 7 days a week. Give them a call at 930-2350 in Newport News. Christopher Newport, senior military discounts are available, and they do catering and delivery. Soprano is located near Hydenwood at 12588 Warwick Boulevard, and Newport News is open daily for you. Go by and see Moody and the great staff at Soprano and get lunch and dinner today. Talking to Paul Fuqua, all things college basketball. So this is the time of the year the Final Four is going on, and really it's like a coach's convention there in Phoenix. So if you want to get an assistant job or a head coaching job, we just saw Archie Miller take the Indiana job. So it's always intriguing this time of the year.
Well, just remember that the Final Four was begun by the National Association of Basketball Coaches, and their convention runs through the Sunday of the Final Four weekend. It is a convention, and the NCAA adopted it and has expanded it. In fact, some of the thrills that I had when I was involved with as a coach at the college level was attending Final Fours and attending the seminars where luminaries in the sport speak and offer nuggets, and there's humor and there's competition and there's posing, and it's a tremendous opportunity for people watching.
Right.
Especially in the lobby of the Host Hotel.
There's so much to go into college coaching. Like Patrick Ewing, for example, who's an assistant in the NBA, has not got an NBA head coaching job, and he's rumored to maybe want the Georgetown job. Who knows? Alonzo Mourning's son transferred from Georgetown as well. You know him very well, went to Indian River High School, and, of course, played for the Heat as well. But there's so much into a college coach. It's fundraising, dealing with alumni, sponsors, recruiting year-round. Some of these guys are literally just getting off the season and already the next day in a kid's living room. You don't have to do that in the NBA. There's a lot more time, talent, and treasure that goes into college. I mean, yes, Coach K's of the world has sustained since the 70s, but you don't see a whole lot of Coach K still at one school. Jim Boeheim, to me, is unbelievable. He's been at Syracuse, the head coach, since 1976, almost like Paterno-like. All those that have power are afraid to lose it. I love Boeheim. I'm glad he's there. He should do whatever he wants to do, in my opinion, but it's a dog-eat-dog world in college basketball. I think, like I said earlier, the AAU has corrupted it. Players are going one and done. You look at Brandon Jennings, who plays for the Wizards. He didn't play college basketball. You know, I used to think stay 4 years. Now it's a mixed bag, Paul. It really is just a mixed bag.
Number one, I think the one and done has corrupted college basketball because now it's a total sham that first year, and I firmly believe that the NBA should do the following: it should draft out of high school and follow the model of professional baseball. Draft out of high school. If they don't take it, fine, then you can't touch them again until 3 years of college or until their graduating year, high school graduating year, is completed 3 years of college. If you do draft them out of high school, you put them in the D League, developmental league, and which the NBA has not as yet developed to the extent of Major League Baseball. But it gives opportunities for kids who may not want to go to college, and it certainly does no longer require the universities to prostitute themselves to benefit the NBA.
Yeah, there you go. Or playing overseas, whatever. There's so many different options. We'll get Paul's thoughts a little bit after the news break as well, including what he does day to day, and talk about his son a little bit as well. Outback Steakhouse in Virginia Beach at 1255 Fordham Drive in Kempsville. Your place for Easter lunch and dinner. Give them a call at 523-4832. Go by and see Mike and the friendly staff. Start off with great appetizers like bloom petals or coconut shrimp. Also Victoria filet or salmon for an entree. They've got great desserts, seasonal parfaits as well. Excellent place for lunch and dinner. Beautiful location in Virginia Beach, right in the heart of Virginia Beach at 1255 Fordham Drive. Newly expanded, renovated type restaurant, plenty of great parking, great place to entertain your clients, take your special loved one there for lunch or dinner, late night too, sit at the bar or their spacious booths as well. At Outback Steakhouse at 1255 Fordham Drive, go by and get a gift card as well and enjoy lunch and dinner. All right, this is Sports Scene. For more of my background, go to gjbtv.com, all powered by Hampton Roads Online Mall.com. Stay tuned for Sports Scene. Hi, this is Greg Bicouvaris, inviting you to join me for Sports Scene live each Wednesday from noon to 1 right here on News Talk 1650 and TuneIn.com by typing WHKT in the search box. Excellent guests and interaction at Greg Bick on Twitter, all powered by Hampton Roads Online Mall.com. Sports Scene each Wednesday from noon to 1 right here on News Talk 1650. Mark your calendar for June 1st through June 4th as Saints Constantine and Helen Greek Orthodox Church in Newport News presents the Newport News Greek Festival. Enjoy authentic Greek food, desserts, beverages, music, dancing, arts and crafts, and much more. This is the 50th anniversary of this signature event on the peninsula, and it will be special. The Newport News Greek Festival is located at 60 Traverse Road, off exit 258B on Route 17 in Newport News. For more, log on to newportnewsgreekfestival.org. Opa!
Interact with Sports Scene on Twitter at Greg Bick. Email the show, bicogb@hotmail.com. Now back to Greg Bicouvaris in the Hampton Roads Online Mall.com studios. It's now time for Greg's Highlights, presented by Hampton Roads Online Mall.com.
And we'll keep Paul's mic open for this as well. I want to thank Paul Fuqua for being in here talking about the Georgetown basketball situation and all things sports. GJBTV.com. Hit the YouTube link for archive shows. Visit the pages of GJBTV.com and Hampton Roads Online Mall.com. Save the date. We'll be back here next Wednesday from 12 to 1. Hampton Roads Online Mall.com. Browse, shop, visit. I want to thank Joe Daniel for what he does for the show each week, produces the show, and also archives it on YouTube. And he has a show on Saturday mornings from 11 to 12 as well with Tim. Check out that show as well. And, of course, we'll be back, of course, with sports highlights on NMPSTV.com. Check out shows right there on the homepage as well as on YouTube. Paul, what do you think about the whole Raiders moving again? Oakland, L.A., now Vegas.
It doesn't make any difference. It makes no difference whatsoever.
But you mentioned tradition, and look at the Colts. They've moved. There's no more Houston Oilers. I mean,
one of my classmates at Georgetown was Carol Rosenblum's son, Steve Rosenblum,
yeah,
whom you know.
Right.
It doesn't make any difference. They're marketing stars, and they're marketing television. Makes the colors. You have the key ones. You have Green Bay, the Giants, the Cowboys, the Redskins, and now you have the Denver team, the Broncos.
Right.
What else do you have? The Jets.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Yeah.
The others, it doesn't make any difference where they're from.
But playing in Vegas, there's going to be a lot of allure out there, good, bad, and ugly. All right, you are in real estate.
I am.
How's that profession going?
Real estate is booming right now in the right price ranges. Give me a call, 757-449-7463. Paul Fuqua.
You can see his link right on Hampton Roads Online Mall.com. And, Paul, tell us about the real estate that you do.
I'm a residential salesperson or sales agent or real estate agent. I buy and help people buy and sell homes. That's what I do, and I do it well. And your son, also doing it well, is a pitcher for VMI's baseball team. Yeah, he's this is his first year. He survived the rat line, and he's had a number of appearances. He's looked good at times, looked bad at times. He had a good outing against UVA. That was a thrill for us, his mother and me to see him up on the big screen there, and he pitched against Bucknell, and he pitched against Richmond, and he pitched against Mason and a couple others. They beat James Madison last night. They play Longwood today, and then they've got their home opener for the Southern Conference this weekend.
With baseball playing 162 games in the majors, just your thoughts. The game tends to drag. A lot of the millennials don't have the patience for the old school 9 innings. Do you think baseball needs to shorten some games?
No. I think the millennials ought to become educated, number one. I think that's stupid.
Right.
Quite honestly, the game, there's a nuance involved in every pitch. Baseball is a game that requires attention. Baseball is a game that is pastoral. Baseball is a game that you can sit back and actually have a conversation during the game, and there's no clock. And everybody who plays the game has a last chance. You can be down 11-1 in a 9-inning game, and you're still going to have your last chance, your 9th inning. And there's no clock that is going to determine the winner or loser.
Right, but
there's no sudden death in baseball.
No, not at all. But sometimes it does drag. 162 games, regardless, is a lot of games. I don't know whoever thought of that in Major League Baseball. That's a lot of games.
It's a lot of games, but it covers the summer. It's college players. John's team at VMI, they have 56 games scheduled. He'll play in the West Coast League, which is the summer collegiate league out there on the West Coast, and they'll play 55 games. So in college, they're playing 110 to 115 games in a shorter period of time than the majors.
Speaking of which, a lot of us been talking about the NBA, about LeBron resting. He's won championships. Do these guys have a right to take a day off whenever they want?
Yeah. As far as I'm concerned, it's up to the coach. I don't think it's fair to the paying customers, but players and coaches make decisions, and the day of the Iron Man is over.
Mm-hmm.
Lou Gehrig doesn't come along very often, and the last time it did, it was whatchamacallit.
Right. Well, that's something you and Rick had talked about.
Baltimore Orioles.
Yeah. Talk about the show that you did at the game. That was a lot of fun that you and Rick did, the former city principal.
Yeah,
also.
My business partner is Rick West. He and I have been doing real estate together for 10, 12 years. He's more of a people person than I am, so he handles a lot of the buyer clients that we have. I'm more geared towards the listings. But his educational background, he's a retired school principal and administrator in the Chesapeake system. So we had an hour show that ran on Saturdays, and it was called Yes, Youth Education in Sports. And what we tried to do was bring forth the aspects of youth participation in sports and how it impacted children educationally, and the importance of physical activity, and where it would lead kids in later life. My wife and I never had hopes or aspirations for our son to play college baseball when he was 10 and 12 and 13, and now he is. In large part, he was recruited heavily by a number of schools because he had excellent grades.
Yeah, that's important.
In baseball, it's critical.
Yes. Paul Fuqua, thank you so much, my friend. Go ahead and plug your real estate business one more time.
Paul Fuqua, Rosenwomble, 757-449-7463.
I got to ask you before I forget, Are you surprised how big Chesapeake and Virginia Beach have gotten? They seem like they're the 1-2 punch of Southampton roads.
In terms of
real estate, that in Suffolk, as far as real estate,
people go where the value is,
mm-hmm.
And this is a wonderful area, and it's a wonderful area for people who retire, and it's a wonderful area in which to bring up children. That's why there's been growth and why there will continue to be growth.
Yeah, great places like Kings Mill and Williamsburg, too, as well. Paul, the best to you and your son and your wife, and continued success in the real estate business.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Paul Fuqua right there enlightening us about the Georgetown basketball situation and all things sports right there, as well as his real estate business. This is Sports Scene live on 1650 AM. TuneIn.com. Type in WHKT to follow Sports Scene with Greg Bicouvaris at 1240. We'll be back live after these messages.
Mi Hogar is your restaurant for the finest Mexican cuisine in Hampton Roads. At Mi Hogar, everything is prepared fresh in a casual atmosphere. Enjoy traditional favorites such as quesadillas, tacos, burritos, and fajitas, as well as refreshing beverages. Mi Hogar has 2 locations, 4201 Granby Street in Norfolk and 801 North Battlefield Boulevard in Chesapeake. Call ahead at 640-7705. Acme Hogar, there is something for everyone.
Oh, yeah, this is the place where Washington Wizards basketball comes alive on the radio.
John Wall, edge of the circle, cuts to his right, splits the defenders, drives, 360 under the basket, makes it, scores!
Follow John Wall, the Wizards, all season long on their journey through the NBA.
Catch and shoot for three, it's there! It's there!
Check it on Twitter at Dave J Sports or at JC Talks. It is the hashtag radio party right here on your home for Washington Wizards basketball.
Listen on 1650 AM, The Answer.
When it comes to automobile service in Hampton Roads, Fink's Car Care is the destination locals have counted on for decades. Family owned and operated, they specialize in transmission service, oil changes, state inspection, radiator service, tires, alignments, and showcase Win Automotive products. Fink's does it all. Military and senior discounts are available. Like them on Facebook and visit them at 2711 Victory Boulevard in Portsmouth. For more, log on to finkscarcare.com and call 485-5555 today.
People in Chesapeake and Hampton Roads have come to expect the finest Italian food at Spaghetti Eddie's. In addition to great lunch and dinner served daily, this fine establishment caters to and can host your party. Call 484-7301 for their Taylor Road location and call 410-5500 for their restaurant in Greenbrier. For more, log on to SpaghettiEddiesPizzaCafe.com.
Now back to Greg Bicouvaris and Sports Scene in the Hampton Roads Online Mall.com studio.
Kind of like the theme song for the NBA on ESPN on Saturday nights. I got to congratulate the Wizards for getting back to the postseason, winning their division. And, of course, we carry select Wizards games right here on 1650. Joe Daniel produces. Also want to welcome our good friends from Panda Express. They'll be bringing some catering in here a few weeks from now as well. Joe Daniel is just waiting for the Panda Express to come in here, take out catering too. They've got bowls, plates, bigger plates, orange chicken, broccoli, beef, grilled teriyaki chicken, kung pao chicken, Shanghai Angus steak, sweet fire chicken breast. They've got great crispy shrimp, pot stickers. They got beverages, chicken egg rolls, vegetable spring rolls. They've got a la carte boxes too, party packs, family feast as well. And of course, real ingredients, freshly prepared every day right there in Harborview in Suffolk at 6208 College Drive. Give them a call at 335-7671 right there. Panda Express. Joe Daniel, great location too, right there in Harborview at 6208 College Drive. And so much about these restaurants is location as well.
Right, absolutely. And I love, like you said, I love Panda Express. And so I go to Panda maybe close to once a week, at least like 3 times a month. I go there pretty often.
All right, well, pandaexpress.com/orders, and of course, they'll be catering here in a few weeks. We walk the talk, go by and see Chai and the friendly staff right there in Harborview. All right, regular right here from Smithfield VA Events is Gina Ippolito, live on the radio. How are you, Gina?
I'm doing good. I'm hungry now after listening to you guys talk about Panda Express.
Well, yes, I'm a foodie. I'm a big foodie here. We had a guy on from the Food Network here a few weeks ago who's actually in sports talk radio as well, and he was on Worst Cooks in America. Imagine being on that show with Rachel Ray.
Oh, that would be bad.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Have you ever seen that show Bar Rescue before?
Yes, I have.
That guy is nuts. I mean,
I know.
Can you imagine? It's like one thing is spilling on the floor, and he's like going crazy and stuff.
Yeah, he rips them apart. He really does.
I mean, physically and emotionally sometimes. All right. Speaking of which, what's going on in April?
Well, we are gearing up for our next event, which is it'll be our 6th annual Wine and Brew Fest. It's April 8th at Windsor Castle Park in downtown Smithfield. So we are just days away, actually. I mean, about a week and a half from now. So we're starting to check the weather forecast, and it's looking all right for right now. It's still a little early to tell, but we're hoping that spring is finally here. So,
how hard is it to plan for outdoor events? It's really almost hit or miss sometimes, isn't it?
It is. I mean, we've been very fortunate. We've been doing this for 6 years. We've been doing 3 events a year since 2014, so I don't know how many festivals that is, but we've actually only had unpleasant weather twice. Once it was really bad in October for our Bacon Bourbon Fest. In fact, we had to cancel it. We had a hurricane off the coast and the big northeasterner blowing through all at the same time. So that was rough. And then last year's wine festival, we experienced 3 seasons in one day. So it started off kind of cold in the morning, and then it warmed up a little bit, and then a front moved through. It actually, we had snow flurries twice, and then it was 60 degrees and sunny.
Right.
So, it's outdoor events. That's the one thing you can't control, is what the weather is going to do. But most of the time we've lucked out and had good weather, and even the one time last year when we didn't, everybody still had a really good time. So it wasn't super bad. But that's, like I said, that's the one thing I can't do anything about.
Yeah, that's the one thing in life. It could be hail one day, sun, rain, whatever. Talking to Gina Ippolito live on 1650. Greg Bicouvaris, glad you're with us with Joe Daniel right here. Final Four weekend, South Carolina versus Gonzaga, Oregon versus North Carolina, of course. So, Gina, when you talk about your overall events, talk about all of your events.
Well, we do 3 events a year. We do the Wine and Brew Fest in April. We do a Bacon Bourbon Beach Music Festival the first Saturday of October. So this year that would be October 7th. And then on Martin Luther King weekend in January on Saturday, we do the Smithfield Bob Festival. And Bob stands for Bloody Mary's Oysters, Brunswick Stew, Barbecue. That one is a little bit different than our other 2 because it is, even though it is an outdoor event, it is all held underneath about 45,000 square feet of heated tent space. So we do our events as fundraisers for the community. Last year we donated about $178,000 in 2016 back to the Smithfield Isle of Wight community. To date, we have given $545,000 back into the community since we started. So that's why we do what we do. And then we also do what we do to have some tourism economic impact. We're located in Smithfield, which is really not far from the rest of coastal Virginia. And about 60 to 65% of our crowd is non-local. We fill up hotel rooms. People come to Smithfield for the weekend. If you haven't ever been to Smithfield, it's really a nice place to spend the weekend. Windsor Castle Park is beautiful. We've got a nice downtown area in the historic district that's got shops and restaurants. And in fact, right now, that is the only way you can still come to the Wine and Brew Fest weekend, not this coming weekend, but the next weekend. Is we have 3 hotels who, last time I checked a couple of days ago, they all had a handful of rooms left, and you can add tickets to your room. So that's why we do what we do. But we'd love to see you. If you don't have tickets and you want to come, spend the weekend. Friday night, Louis McGee is playing at the Smithfield Inn and Tavern, which is right on Main Street. The Smithfield Station, which is also a restaurant and marina, is having a fabulous wine dinner on Friday night before the fest on Saturday. The farmers markets will be running on Saturday morning in downtown Smithfield, so we have a lot of festival guests that are here for the weekend and go cruise by the market when it opens, and then they come on over to the fest in the afternoon, and it's just a nice weekend.
How can people connect on social media with Smithfield VA events?
We have a couple of Facebook pages. Smithfield VA Events is our main one. This particular event has its own Facebook page, so it's Smithfield VA Wine and Brew Fest. So you can keep up with news and what's going on the Facebook page, or you can visit our website, which is smithfieldvaevents.com, and then you can click on whichever events you're interested in. If you're looking at the Wine and Brew Fest and want the information on the hotels, once you get on that website, click on the Wine Fest, and then there's a tab for lodging. And you need to call the hotels directly because for example, the Hampton Inn and Suites had some rooms on Saturday night, but if you go on their website to book, it's going to tell you that they're sold out because there's actually a block, similar to like when you go to a wedding. So you need to call the hotel directly and tell them you're with the Wine Festival and you want to see if they still have rooms left. And so...
Yeah, but there's no bridezillas at your event, right?
No bridezillas at our event.
Okay,
no.
very
We just have happy people that like beer and wine and want to listen to good music and have a good time on a beautiful site by the river. So.
And sponsors and volunteers are very important to you, correct?
Yes. We use, this event will use about, close to 400 volunteers from start to finish. We have some come in the few days prior to the festival to help get set up, and then we have hundreds of them that work the day of the event, and then we also have a crew that comes in, the 2 or 3 days after the event and cleans it all up and puts it all back in the box. So we couldn't survive without our volunteers. We've got groups, almost every local civic organization and nonprofit from groups at the high school on up to our VFW and American Legion all volunteer at our events as an organization. And we, in turn, make donations back to those organizations. So that's all part of how we make it all work.
Very good. All right, Gina, leave us with the date one more time.
The Wine Fest is April 8th. It's not this Saturday, it's next Saturday, and there are still a handful of tickets if you book hotel rooms, and that website is SmithfieldVAEvents.com.
Very good. Well, enjoy your Wednesday, and always a pleasure to hear your voice.
Yes, and hopefully we'll see you out here.
Yes, get those tickets out.
I will.
All right, dear.
They went in the mail yesterday.
Oh, you're awesome. You're awesome.
All right.
Have a good night.
Bye-bye.
All right. Smithfield VA Events, Gina Ippolito. Also want to thank our good friends at Panera. They're only nationwide chain that can say every item on their menu is 100% clean, meaning no artificial preservatives, colors, or flavoring. Panera will deliver to you. Go online and type the address to find out if available. They also offer catering as well for large groups at home or the office. Don't wait in line. Choose a rapid pickup option. Delicious soups, sandwiches, salads, breakfasts, danishes, beverages, bagels, lunch, dinner, Thai garden chicken wonton soup, excellent soups to warm you up as well. Great grilled cheese, great turkey and cheese, ham and cheese, right there in Harborview at 6255 College Drive. Go by and see Christian and the wonderful staff. Breakfast, lunch, dinner, late night hours as well. Give them a call at 483-3670, PaneraBread.com. Excellent place for breakfast, lunch, and dinner in Harborview in Suffolk. Stay tuned. We'll be back for What Tees Me Off after this.
When it comes to automobile service in Hampton Roads, Fink's Car Care is the destination locals have counted on for decades. Family owned and operated, they specialize in transmission service, oil changes, state inspection, radiator service, tires, alignments, and showcase Win Automotive products. Fink's does it all. Military and senior discounts are available. Like them on Facebook and visit them at 2711 Victory Boulevard in Portsmouth. For more, log on to finkscarcare.com and call 485-5555 today.
Mark your calendar for June 1st through June 4th as Saints Constantine and Helen Greek Orthodox Church in Newport News presents the Newport News Greek Festival. Enjoy authentic Greek food, desserts, beverages, music, dancing, arts and crafts, and much more. This is the 50th anniversary of this signature event on the peninsula, and it will be special. The Newport News Greek Festival is located at 60 Traverse Road, off exit 258B on Route 17 in Newport News. For more, log on to newportnewsgreekfestival.org.
Now back to Greg Bicouvaris and Sports Scene in the Hampton Roads Online Mall.com studio.
All right, welcome back live right here at Sports Scene. I want to thank our two guests so far, Paul Fuqua talking about the Georgetown basketball opening and all the drama going on there, as well as Gina Ippolito as well. A locals tradition is CP Shuckers with locations on Shore Drive and Pacific Avenue. People love their prime rib, seafood, and much more. Your home for March Madness as well. Of course, Major League Baseball, NHL, the NBA, college sports as well, golf, soccer, tennis. Like both locations on Facebook and log on to cpshuckers.com. Eat or be eaten at CP Shuckers. Fresh seafood the way you like it. Pasta, burger, seafood. Go by and see Chris, Matt, Mark, and Leon at Shore Drive and Pacific Avenue. Great events going on. They give back to the community. Matt and Mark do an excellent job with CP Shuckers, or tradition in Virginia Beach. All right, let's get to What Tees Me Off.
What Tees You Off? Presented by GJBTV.com.
Cocky parents like LeVar Ball, whose kid goes to UCLA. You barely know the kid exists, yet he's playing basketball, yet the parents do all the talking. These parents of kids playing sports, especially this guy LeVar Ball, you need to Google him. He actually said he could beat Michael Jordan one-on-one. He's a narcissistic lunatic.
No, you're absolutely right. It's the parents that, like, their child can do pretty much anything, and they're just like, oh, little Timmy did nothing wrong. He's a good boy.
Yeah, well, they can't stand Timmy when he goes back to the house, though.
Right.
It's only a public persona.
Oh, yeah.
You know, the whole deal of trying to get popcorn. Let's say you and your wife are trying to eat popcorn, Joe Daniel. You're putting your hand in the bowl, and it all spills everywhere. You can't get a grip on it.
Oh, man, that's the worst.
It's like fresh and it's hot. Got butter on it. All right, Christopher, Newport University, stop trying to expand in the Heidenwood section of Newport News. Don't take away the post office. Don't take away the SunTrust Bank building. It's a campus not meant for the entire city of Newport News. People in Heidenwood do not want to see the post office being taken away. All right, stay away from trains. Repeat, stay away from trains. people that try to walk them or daredevil them, they're asking for trouble.
Absolutely. I mean, that's a pretty much a guaranteed way to get yourself hurt or killed. Absolutely. Stay away. And also don't try to beat the little arms that come down across the railway. Don't do that. That's a bad idea.
You and your car both will be totaled, unfortunately. All right, these bogus ghost tours in Williamsburg, they are a ripoff. If you want to hear a ghost story, just watch something on TV. Okay, you can walk anywhere at night and pretty much hear noises, right, Joe Daniel?
Yeah, I mean, it always seems to happen just like whenever you're alone. I mean, it's the same home, same atmosphere, but whenever you're alone, you all of a sudden, like, all these noises start to come out. You're like, what was that? Like, that didn't used to creak.
Especially at night, too.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, nothing during the daytime.
There was a show called Unsolved Mysteries. I don't know if you remember that back in the 90s, but I used to watch Unsolved Mysteries when I was a kid, and that always freaked me out.
Right, of course. All right, locations of NFL teams and traditions or all sporting teams. Some, yes, but too much relocation is never good for continuity. People like their teams. I'll tell you one thing. Having a team in Las Vegas is going to be a lot of temptation, good, bad, and ugly. No matter where you go, there's slot machines, there's gambling. There's try to live there and play sports. The NFL is asking for trouble, in my opinion, but, more power to them. How about this? You and I have a platform, Tim. We all do radio, TV. You're on, you do voiceovers like I do, and I do broadcasting on all levels, on air, behind the scenes, everything. We've got platforms, but there are people that don't have platforms, Joe Daniel, that rely on Facebook and need to tell their entire life story, whether they're going through a divorce, separation. Nobody cares about your personal life or your ex from 20 or 30 years ago. It's irrelevant. Why do people do that?
I have no idea. There are a couple of my friends on Facebook that do write these super long novels, and they talk about something really intimate or really emotional, and some people read it and they'll leave a little comment, hey, we're thinking of you, we're praying for you, and all that. It's just, I don't know, for me, on a Facebook post, too long, did not read.
And nobody cares. Too much information. If you need Facebook for entitlement or acknowledgement, you got some issues as well. How about this, Joe Daniel? Hearing somebody in the next room.
Oh.
When the door's closed.
Right. Or like you're in an apartment and then your walls are like a sheet of paper thin, so you just hear them breathing over on the other side. Yeah, hearing other people, especially like, in a complex or when you're in some place where you need to be quiet. I do voiceover, like you said, and so I need other rooms to be quiet so that way it doesn't pick it up. So
right.
Absolutely,
of course, people that live in apartments or condos are constantly hearing furniture shuffling no matter what time it is, and those aren't ghosts either, folks. All right, want to thank Paul Fuqua as well as Gina Ippolito. This show will be archived at gjbtv.com. Hit the YouTube link for archive shows. My background on gjbtv.com. You can advertise on HamptonRoadsOnlineMall.com. Look at the contact information. Put your business link on there as well. I want to thank all our great guests and sponsors as well. Final Four weekend as well. Who am I predicting? It's going to be hard to say. I'm going to go with Carolina. That's a safe bet right there as well. And congratulations to all the teams that made it too. Again, thank Paul Fuqua, Gina Ippolito, our great sponsors as well, like Spaghetti Eddie's, Crawl Space Stores, Finks, and Hogar. For Joe Daniel and also the Newport News Greek Festival, I'm Greg Bicouvaris. Happy Wednesday. We'll talk to you soon.
The best of News Talk Radio in Hampton Roads, AM 1650, WHKT Portsmouth. We are the answer.